All right. Well, thank you so much, and welcome to Oakland Rising Monday Meals. We
Thank
are
you.
excited to have you here and just share a bit about the work that you do, and a lot of knowledge, that's behind it. Um, if you wouldn't mind taking a few minutes to just introduce yourself and your title and what you do.
Sure. So my name's Larisa, and I'm a member of the Budget Advisory Commission here in Oakland, and I've been on the commission a little bit more than a year. And the Budget Advisory Commission is mandated to provide recommendations to the City Council on both its budget process as well as the budget itself. And so we release two main reports with recommendations every year.
Yeah, it's a lot is going on in Oakland right now, but one of the hot topics is, our budget. But before we get into that, again, thank you for being here. And how long have you lived in Oakland, and how long have you held your position on the commission?
Yeah, well, I've lived in Oakland for 20 years now. So, yeah, I love Oakland. I think that's an amazing town, and I love the people. I love the spirit of Oakland. And that's one of the reasons why I chose to be on the commission. I really care about the city and want to be involved in creating positive change for everyone. And I thought that working on the Budget Advisory Commission would give me a good perspective on budget and finance issues because I believe that sometimes as advocates, we forget about the budget part of our work.
Mhm.
We focus a lot on the organizing as we should and the policy, but then sometimes we forget about the finance, the dollars, the budget. And so I thought this would give me a good perspective and real understanding of the budget and what it looks like for Oakland.
Yeah, you're right about that. Most people don't pay attention to the budget until it actually impacts them directly. And as we know, not just Oakland, but the state of California is currently under a deficit. Um, Larissa, would you mind sharing how much of a deficit is the city of Oakland currently facing?
Yeah, we're facing about $140 million deficit. So it kind of keeps creeping up every week. So it's a pretty large deficit that the city council, along with the city administrator's office, they actually need to close that gap by June 30th of this year.
Wow, by June 30th, so not much,
Mm,
not much time. So
right.
whoever becomes our next mayor will be in charge of trying to help balance the budget in some way or fashion. And we know that unfortunately, a lot of organizations and services rely on the city budget to provide services, and resources. We One of our guests who couldn't make it today, Joe Hawkins from the Oakland LGBT Youth Center. Their center has, experienced cuts, and they help people, a wide range of people from youth, to seniors, providing all types of different resources, food, assists people, living with HIV, seniors. And so that's just one, organization that has been impacted, but numerous other, city departments as well, that have been cut, such as like our public works has experienced that too. So from your perspective, this deficit, how has it, really impacted some of the city services that we rely on?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just like you said, I mean, we already are seeing that nonprofits, their contracts are being eliminated, cut. We've already seen a number of, I think, Originally, it was almost 100 staff people were laid off at the end of last year. I think that some of them have been rehired. But yeah, already we're starting to see layoffs, and, the cultural arts program was cut. So, even like popular liaisons between neighborhoods and the police department, they were cut recently. So, I mean, my real concern is that organizations that are serving the most vulnerable communities are the ones that are going to not only be cut, but are going to suffer the most. And, we know that oftentimes, folks who are barely making it, if you cut their services and their programs, they're really not going to be making it. And so, I think that the equity issue is a really big question that unfortunately we haven't been raising, myself included. It's like, how are we going to make these cuts in a way that's going to be equitable, not only for our communities, but also for city staff and organizations that are serving vulnerable communities.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And just we spoke about the Oakland LGBT Center, but macro is an important department that doesn't need cutting. Helping our unhoused communities, our arts and culture. Like you said, Oakland is deeply rooted in arts and culture, and many artists, youth, and community, we rely on our arts and culture to keep not just programs, but our cultural festivals and events going throughout the year. Head Start is important, right? We need more investing in those things, and so like you said, really protecting our service and workers who are providing these essential services to Oakland, in our communities as well. And we have a special election coming up, on the 15th. There's a ballot initiative. Would you mind speaking on that? If you know any, about it? We are trying to educate the public, as much as possible. But in your opinion, do you think that will help at all?
Yeah. Yes. I I can't speak a whole lot to it, except that actually I recently learned at a budget workshop that the commission, Budget Advisory Commission, along with the League of Women Voters, City Administrator's Office, and SPUR, we hosted a budget workshop last week, Wednesday, and we're going to host a similar workshop tomorrow, Tuesday, at the main library, 5 to 7. And at that workshop, I myself learned that the sales tax that's being proposed, it's slightly different from other sales taxes in Oakland. Other sales taxes, for every dollar, we get 10 cents, the city does, and then the other 90 cents is allocated to different programs, the county, and, other pots of money. The sales tax that's currently on the ballot is the whole dollar that is taxed is supposed to be coming to Oakland specifically. It's a hard one though, right? I'm just going to throw out my own opinion on this one, in that it's a regressive tax. And again, when we're thinking about folks who are, really having a hard time already with inflation and wages being stagnant and housing costs being high, I feel badly asking people to pay more, right? But it will help. It will help to narrow that deficit, that gap. It will help for sure. Yeah, I can't really, I'm
Yeah,
personally
and
really
and
torn.
I'm really glad that you brought up the workshop that's happening tomorrow, because I think, for one, these are really important, and it's happening tomorrow at the main library branch. I believe at 5. 5
5 to 7.
5 to 7 p.m. And so for a community that is wanting to, more, this is hosted by the city, I believe. And
Yeah.
so you can, ask those direct questions to city employees around that, and also voice your opinion about, like, what do you think our budgets, should be prioritized. And so this is an opportunity to be in the room, and to have your voices heard around that. And there's so many things. Is there any other important issues around the city budget that we should be keeping our eye on, or how can we community members, get more involved, or if will there be ongoing workshops and conversations happening?
Yes. So all the materials that we're presenting tomorrow will be made available on the city's website. And they're actually will be made available on the Budget Advisory Commission's website as well. So folks could just do a search for Oakland Budget Advisory Commission and our homepage should show up. And they'll see not only information that's being shared tomorrow, but they'll also see information, the results from a survey that the commission administered earlier this year. We got all of the survey responses. We got almost 7,000 responses. The survey was translated into Chinese and Spanish. And so folks can see results on that as well and understand, like, what their neighbors think about certain reductions as well as the sales tax. And then also want to just let people know, if folks haven't, if they're not receiving their city council's newsletter, to sign up and receive their city council's newsletter. And then also get involved with Oakland Rising. Get involved with other organizations that are working on budget issues. Right now is the time for us to become informed and educate ourselves on the budget, what the budget looks like, and the process. But once we elect our new mayor, the mayor is going to, start working the very next day on the budget, because the mayor is supposed to provide city council and the public with their proposed budget by May 1st. And that's kind of when we all get up and running. So right now we have the luxury of learning more about the budget, what it means, the process, right? Where's the money coming from? Where does the money go? So that when the mayor does propose their budget on May 1st, we're ready. We're educated. We know what our priorities are, and we can, start voicing what we want to the mayor. But it's never too early to start voicing your priorities to your city council members, and you can start doing that now. And then just really quickly also, in May, every city council member is mandated to host a town hall on the budget. So that's why it's important to get on your council members' newsletter so you know when those town halls are happening. And you can go and you can, share your opinions and your priorities around the budget then. And then also, I would be remiss if I don't invite the public to meetings of the Budget Advisory Commission, because we also want to hear from the public and understand what your priorities are.
Absolutely. And those were some really important dates. And yes, we'll be sharing, doing some information sharing and letting folks know, about these different meetings that will be happening, because pretty much the election is April 15th, and whoever is elected has about 2 weeks to work on the budget. So very, very busy times here in Oakland. There are